11th. The roll call, Jim Morrison,
Yes.
Larry Wall,
Here.
Dick Peterson is absent, Kathy Downs,
Here.
Ron Russell,
Here.
Steve Bishop, here, Joe Devanzo,
Yep.
John Paul Lalonde is absent, Jim Boothby is absent, and Mark Eastman is here. Item 2 is to approve the minutes of the September 2022 meeting. Any questions?
Make a motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. New business not already on the agenda. This is kind of tough without Rich, but any new business from the committee? No. Okay, maybe we'll wait on that and come back to it. This is kind of tough without Rich. Recommendation on downtown district exterior improvement grants applications. Does anybody have any comments on the applications they received from Rich on Thursday of last week?
Some of the places are not on Main Street, and they're private houses.
But they are in the zone as far as blight, and correct me if I'm wrong, Sue, as far as the facade improvement, they're within the district that it's permissible, but you are correct, they are not a business.
So we don't care that it's a private house and it's, it's...
I mean, the intent of the program is to improve blight in the community. Go ahead, Sue.
Well, no, the intent is to improve the exterior appearance of the buildings in the downtown district, and that includes both residential and commercial, because we have allowed that joint use on our Main Street corridor, our downtown district, and that's why they're also eligible. A couple of the ones that are mentioned here, significant improvements to those would improve the entire appearance of Bucksport as you come across the bridge.
I don't know if I agree with it, I just wanted to answer your question.
Sure. Any other? Steve, you had a question?
No, she answered it better than I could have, so that's great. Yeah. It needs to be done. I was going to add that the budget, the fact that we're within the budget, I had thought we would have to whittle some of them down and pick and choose priority, but we're still very much so within that $100,000 window.
I would agree.
And since we're not over it, in theory, I mean, we'll still have to go through its process, but it's not going to be as stringent as I had thought it would be, having to prioritize.
So the deadline was October 6th, and we will not be getting any more applications. Is that correct?
At this point, these are the applications, and this is the only funding at this point. Did you have? Go ahead, Sue.
I would also note that $95,000 investment is a $282,000 return.
Right.
Because the total investments to the properties is almost $282,000. The town would be providing about a third of that. So it's a much bigger bang for your buck than just the $95,000. It's close to $300,000 in improvements that would result from that.
Thanks. Rich, we skipped by 3 and we are on 4.
Thank you. My apologies for being
It's
late.
okay. You were doing something in the community.
Yes. The school got lost, but okay. So, yeah, I believe everyone should have received my recommendation to the committee is, as Sue said, I don't see anything with any one of them that should deter the committee unless you also have something in there. Did you need to review any of them? I could bring them up if someone didn't have a chance to review them.
Did anybody? I reviewed.
Looks
Yep.
good to me.
Yeah, it looks good to me as well. So we just need a...
Just a recommendation.
Some of
Go ahead, Steve.
some of them specifically, I was really excited about. Like they need it, and I was glad that some of those buildings really took advantage of the opportunity to fill out the paperwork and go through the process. So anyway, yeah, good job.
And from the strong interest, hopefully we can do it again somewhere down the road.
Yeah, that would be great. And again, this is just another project that came out of the marketing recommendation from the marketing plan, so.
Okay. Go ahead,
We
Sue.
still have $47,000 left in a housing rehab account that is in Bangor Savings Bank that was from back in the day, shall we say, when you had a housing rehab program. And I only am thinking of this because I got another notice last week saying that if we didn't do something to it, it goes into a dormant stage. And so every year I have to come and say, it's not dormant, it's still ours. But I'm thinking if the rules weren't, maybe there could be some incorporation into, I don't know what the rules were on the town got it, but maybe Rich, you could check on that. It's not the microloan program, it's housing rehab, and it's got like $47,000 in it.
What does that encompass? Is that just for the downtown district, or?
I'm not sure the rules, Jim. It's been around for
If I
way
remember
longer
correct,
than I have.
if I remember correct, 1820 Oak Street was one of the ones we dealt with. It's one of those where you have to keep the property for 5 years. And if not, then it depreciates over 5 years, and you have to pay it off if you try to sell the property. And we had to do that for those owners. They only had the property for 3 years. They did weatherization. I believe that was the same program.
And that's where part of the funds come from?
That's that 47,000 that Sue was talking about.
Okay.
So if that's that program, that would have been through the housing program back in around 2014, 2013 that the town took part in, and we haven't done it since I've been here.
Yeah, okay.
And there is no restriction, Jim, on the location for that. It's the program that I'm thinking, but I will do further research on that for the committee.
There is a commitment that if you do something within 5 years, that you have to repay a portion of the money depending on that.
If you sell within the 5 years?
Was the idea for that for like an exterior facade upgrade, or is that something that we could steer like, specifically to help people with heating sources or something?
That is geared towards moderate to low income families.
Yeah.
So they have to provide proof of their income. They have to fall within certain thresholds.
Could it be used for the discussion we're having around home improvements for residents?
I can check on that.
Okay. Any other comments on the improvement grant applications? Or otherwise?
Can we get a motion?
Sure.
So we can bring it to the council for Thursday night for a result.
Sure.
Yeah, well, motion to approve the proposals and send it to the council.
Second.
All in favor?
I should abstain.
Okay.
Thank you.
And with that, Rich, we'll go back to item 3, new business not already on the agenda. Was that for you?
That's for the public or the board.
Okay. Nobody had
It's
anything?
typically at the end, but where we have an executive session, I bumped it forward today.
Okay. If that's the case, there's nothing from the committee. If there's nothing from you, we'll move on to 6.
Can I ask a question on that?
Yep.
I know nothing is happening, and it may not be appropriate item within the committee. I know when Ocean Fund was going to put in the Summit Farm, they had also said they were going to put in a amphitheater, a theater. Remember the original? They had drawn up a diagram for it, a seating and a theater. Do we know if that's still in existence, or I know we may not know anything about it.
That was part of the ADAPT plan, and the ADAPT plan called on the waterfront for an amphitheater, which had seating and full performance space. It's separate from Whole Oceans. Whole Oceans aquaculture, and it just happened to be Whole Oceans was the aquaculture that came to the town, was also part of the public results that came out of that meeting. So it's all part of the ADAPT plan. We still do have the ADAPT plan, and the location of that amphitheater currently resides some railroad tracks.
So it may or may not happen, depending on Whole Oceans or.
That's not necessarily a Whole Oceans thing. I'm not sure if the TIF would even encompass that area. But it's something that came as a recommendation out of the ADAPT planning grants. if it's something that the committee would like to pursue at this point. I think what the holdup was before was the fact that the railroad tracks were still there and it would impede any process over there at this point. But the tracks are now exempt since that report was done, so it's possible a phone call might spur some action.
Because I said I was reading the Brewer intends to put the same item up. It just dawned on me, I never heard anything else about that. It was just a question, thank you.
One item I did miss was proposed schedule next meeting Monday, November 14th at 6. Does that work for everybody?
That's a Monday, so, yeah.
Good for me. Okay. Okay, with that, we're at item 6, recommendation to move to executive session. Do I need to read this back down?
No, but if you can take a motion.
I make a motion to move into executive session.
Second.
All in favor? And